Cunningham took a jab at Caitlin Clark's newest WNBA foes by signing a Jacy Sheldon trading card with a rather humorous message written across the fans' collectible.
Sophie Cunningham just turned the WNBA into her own personal Fight Club moment, putting Jacy Sheldon in her place after that cheap shot on Caitlin Clark. And she didn't just do it on the court. Oh no, she made sure everyone knew it. Question for you. Do you love this energy from Sophie, or is it a little too much? Here's the thing. When your teammate is a superstar like Caitlin Clark, you either protect her or you sit there looking useless while the league takes cheap shots at her. Sophie Cunningham clearly chose option one, and she's doing it in a way that has fans loving every second. This all goes back to that game, the same one where Marina Mabrey decided she was auditioning for the NFL and ran straight through Clark after the whistle. But before Mabrey's hit, we had Jacy Sheldon pulling a move that made Fever fans want to send her straight into the WNBA penalty box. If only that existed.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye.
Sophie Cunningham just turned the WNBA into her own personal Fight Club moment, putting Jacy Sheldon in her place after that cheap shot on Caitlin Clark. And she didn't just do it on the court. Oh no, she made sure everyone knew it. Question for you. Do you love this energy from Sophie, or is it a little too much? Here's the thing. When your teammate is a superstar like Caitlin Clark, you either protect her or you sit there looking useless while the league takes cheap shots at her. Sophie Cunningham clearly chose option one, and she's doing it in a way that has fans loving every second. This all goes... Fast forward to a Fever fan event. Sophie sitting there signing autographs, taking pictures, doing the usual player meets fans routine. A fan hands her a Jacy Sheldon rookie card and asks her to sign it. But not just with her name. Oh no, they wanted her to put a little stamp on it.
Crazy. When you get Sophie Cunningham to sign a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with property of, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Sophie takes the card, grabs a pen, and writes across the front. Property of Sophie Cunningham. That's not just a signature. That's a message. It's basically saying, yeah, I own this matchup. I own this moment. And Jacy Sheldon will think twice before coming for my teammate again.
See, she's the problem. She is the problem.
The clip of her doing it? Pure gold. Teammate Lexi Hull is sitting next to her, laughing right along with the fans. It's the kind of moment you don't get unless you have players who are unapologetically competitive and have a sense of humor about it. And here's where this gets even better. Cunningham didn't try to walk it back. She didn't say, oh, I was just joking. No, she leaned right into it. That's exactly the kind of energy you want from your enforcer. Because make no mistake, Sophie Cunningham is the Fever's enforcer. Now, every great team has one. In hockey, you had guys whose sole job was to make sure nobody touched Wayne Gretzky without paying for it. In the NBA, stars like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant had teammates who would get in your face if you fouled them too hard. And right now, in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark has Sophie Cunningham. What's funny is Sophie isn't just some bench player taking hard fouls to make a point. She's actually producing. She's a legit three-point shooter, a starter, and someone who's been on fire since the All-Star break. She dropped 18 points against the Mercury when the rest of the Fever might as well have stayed home.
Cunningham has been Caitlin Clark's biggest cheerleader and defender.
And it literally pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What? When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league,
Yeah.
or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as
The sad truth about this video we just watched is she is the first WNBA player I have seen to openly say this out loud, publicly, and not be ashamed in declaring it. Caitlin Clark is the reason we have been talking about the WNBA. Hate it or love it, it's true. I don't believe that Caitlin Clark necessarily wants that title that everyone has been giving to her. I think she just wants to be appreciated. And Sophie Cunningham, she just seems like such a real one, such a good friend. I think especially with women, especially elite level athletes, there's a lot of people, women, who will kind of stab you in the back. There's a lot of jealousy, a lot of resentment, especially when you're good. But Sophie just seems like such a girl's girl. I really, really like her. Maybe Caitlin Clark should do the next American Eagle campaign. Or
But while she's putting up numbers, she's also doing the dirty work nobody else seems eager to take on, making it clear to opponents that Clark isn't out there alone. That matters, because like it or not, Clark's presence in the league puts a target on her back. We've seen it with Kennedy Carter, Diamond DeShields, Marina Mabrey, and now Jacy Sheldon. The difference in this Sheldon incident is that Sophie Cunningham made sure there was a response, and she made it loud enough that fans noticed. The property of Sophie Cunningham autograph is now basically a meme. Fever fans love it, Clark fans love it, and even neutral fans who are tired of seeing Clark take hits are into it. It's also worth pointing out that Jacy Sheldon isn't exactly having a stable WNBA career so far. Drafted by the Dallas Wings, traded within months, and now playing for Connecticut Sun, she's already bouncing around the league. That kind of instability doesn't help her case when she's out here making enemies with one of the most popular players in basketball. Cunningham's little stunt at the fan event just solidified the narrative. Sheldon's legacy so far isn't about her scoring, her defense, or her playmaking. It's about being the player who went after Caitlin Clark, and now also the player owned by Sophie Cunningham. You could almost hear the collective cheer from Fever Nation when that clip hit social media. It's the kind of moment that builds team identity, especially for a squad that's been under constant media scrutiny. And Cunningham knows exactly what she's doing. By owning that moment, she's rallying the fan base and sending a warning to anyone else thinking about testing Clark.
Yeah.
Just go tomorrow. You're on the Las Vegas Strip. What can the Las Vegas expect from Sophie?
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
This is why I think Sophie's become the second most popular player on the Fever roster, behind only Clark herself. She's got personality, she's got skill, and she's not afraid to throw her weight around when it matters. Now, before we move forward, let's be honest. This Sophie versus JC situation wouldn't even be a thing if Clark hadn't been targeted all season. And that's the context that makes Sophie's property as Sophie Cunningham autograph so satisfying for Fever fans. This wasn't just about one shove or one knee to the groin. This was about a season's worth of non-basketball plays aimed at Caitlin Clark finally getting a loud public response from a teammate. We've seen it all year. Kennedy Carter's blindside hit that was so unnecessary became the clip that launched 1,000 talking points. Diamond DeShields' body check that looked more like a hockey penalty than a basketball foul. Marina Mabrey's after the whistle shove, which she later admitted was an overreaction, but still tried to frame as just part of the game. And now Jacy Sheldon, who somehow managed to rack up a growing list of accidents against Clark in just her first year. The Sheldon incident hit differently for Fever fans because it came with an extra layer of irritation. Her WNBA resume is barely off the printer, and yet she's already becoming more famous for her fouls and her basketball production. Drafted number 5 overall by the Dallas Wings in 2024, she didn't even unpack before being moved to another team. Now, with the Connecticut Sun, she's making headlines for hitting Clark in ways that have nothing to do with defense. That's not the path you want if you're trying to be taken seriously as a professional player. And Sophie Cunningham, she saw all of that and decided to make sure Sheldon's tough girl reputation got checked on the court. Sophie's the type who can flip the energy of a game, not just with her shooting, but with her presence. She's the one player on the Fever who, when Clark takes a hit, you immediately look to see if she's on the floor. Because you know something's coming back the other way. That's why the fan event autograph moment blew up online. It wasn't just funny, it was symbolic. Property of Sophie Cunningham was a way of saying, this is my matchup, and I control it. You're not running over my teammate without hearing from me. And it's not like Sophie's just talking tough. Her stats since the All-Star break have been some of the best of her career. She's knocking down threes, putting up double-digit scoring nights, and being one of the only Fever players who shows up consistently when the stakes are high. Case in point, the Phoenix Mercury game. While the Fever as a whole played like they left their energy at home, Sophie dropped 18 points and kept hustling until final buzzer. No hiding, no excuses. So when Sophie decided to play the enforcer role, it lands differently than if some end-of-the-bench player did it. She's producing, she's contributing, and she's holding her teammates accountable by example. This is where the comparison to old-school enforcers comes in. In hockey, Wayne Gretzky had guys who made sure anyone who touched him paid for it. In the NBA, Stars like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson had teammates who would step in physically if things got too chippy. In today's WNBA, Caitlin Clark has Sophie Cunningham. And that matters because, let's face it, Clark's arrival in the league has brought more eyes, more ticket sales, and more TV ratings than the WNBA has seen in years. But it's also brought more physical targeting than most second-year players ever deal with. If the Fever don't have players willing to respond, it sends the wrong message. That Clark is fair game. Sophie's making sure that message doesn't stick, and she's doing it in a way that keeps the fans entertained. That combination, production on the court and personality off it, is exactly how you become a fan favorite. The reaction from Fever and Clark supporters has been overwhelmingly positive. Social media lit up with clips of the autograph moment, memes calling Sophie Black Belt Barbie, a nod to her martial arts background, and even fans saying they buy merch with property of Sophie Cunningham printed on it. Meanwhile, Jacy Sheldon's reputation continues to go in the other direction. Ask the average fan what they remember about her rookie season, and odds are they'll mention the groin knee, the Clark foul, and now being publicly owned by Sophie. That's the kind of thing that sticks, especially in a league where narrative matters as much as numbers. And right now, the narrative is that Sophie Cunningham isn't afraid to call out or clap back at anyone who goes after a teammate. What's also interesting is how Sophie's response sets a standard for the rest of the Fever roster. The unspoken message is clear. If you want to be part of this team, you protect our stars. You don't just watch them take hits. And you know what? The Fever need more of that. Caitlin Clark's game doesn't work in isolation. She needs teammates who will create space, absorb contact, and make opponents think twice about roughing her up. Sophie Cunningham embodies that perfectly. Her approach also wins over neutral fans who might not have a dog in the fight, but respect players who stand up for their teammates. And in a league that's still fighting for mainstream attention, those kinds of personalities are invaluable. Let's also talk about how rare this kind of public jab is in the WNBA. Players will get chippy during games, sure. Outright taking a shot at an opponent during a public signing event? That's next level. Sophie's not just protecting Clark in the heat of the moment. She's branding herself as someone you don't mess with. That's the same reason her Black Belt Barbie nickname works so well. It's not just about the martial arts background. It's about the blend of skill, toughness, and unapologetic swagger. She's not here to be liked by everyone. She's here to win, and to make sure her teammates can do the same without being harassed every game. Where does this go from here? Well, if the Fever and Sun meet again this season, you can bet this will be a storyline. Fans will be watching to see if Sheldon tries anything, if Sophie responds, and whether Clark gets to the game without another accident. And that's where Sophie's role becomes strategic. Just her presence on the court changes the calculation for opponents. It's one thing to take a cheap shot at a star when you know nobody's coming for you. It's another when you know someone like Sophie Cunningham is going to make you regret it. Bottom line, Sophie didn't just put Jacy Sheldon in her place. She sent a message to the whole league. And given how this season has gone, if the message the Fever needed to send months AGO to SO, what do you think? Was Sophie Cunningham's property of Sophie Cunningham moment the perfect way to clap back at Jacy Sheldon? Or is it just adding fuel to the fire? Let me know in the comments. And while you're here, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell. You're not going to want to miss what happens next.